Hello and welcome back. My name's Annie and this is my creative detour. Today is July Junk Journal Challenge, hosted by Lee's Art and Junk Journal Wonderland. Today is prompt number 5 and 6 for me because I'm doubling up. So I'm only posting every second day. So today I'm going to cover today's prompt and tomorrow's prompt. So I'm obviously going to make tags today, and I'm going to do them in one color or a monochromatic, so black and white or neutrals with one color. And I have actually made a few, but I'm going to make one on camera with you. So let's have a quick look at the ones I've made. I'm not going to show you them all. I'll show you them at the end, but let's have a little sneak peek. So here's my journal. And I have made 2 tags so far. Got one here and one here. This one I'll be moving out of the journal, but I think I'm going to leave this nice little girl here in the journal. So let's get set up and we'll make one together, and then I'll show you all 3 at the end. I have cut out some cardstock. I'll let you in on a little tip. I actually cut, when I'm doing tags, I cut 2 pieces of cardstock and I work on both and then I glue them together. But you know how sometimes you get a tag and it curls? That's because cardstock has a grain. It tears better in one direction, just like material tears better in one direction. So when you bend your cardstock, you'll see that it bends really easily one direction and then it resists the other. So I purposely cut one in one direction out of my cardstock and one the other. You'll see that this one, it bends really easy this way and not so good that way. This one bends really easy this way and not as easy this way. So I've got this one's going this way, the grain, and this one's going this way. And when you glue them together, it laminates the fibers together in a cross direction and stops the tag from warping. I usually always do that so that my tags stay nice and flat and don't curl. So just a little tip from Annie. Okay, let's get started. So I'm going to work one on the front, one on the back. I've just torn out quite a bit of colours in shades of yellow. And that's because I have this lovely lady here and she looks like a performer to me, or she's wanting to be a performer. And I have a bird. This is the New Holland honeyeater, or the white-bearded honeyeater in Australia. And I'm going to sit her on this branch with this bird as if the bird is giving her a singing lesson. And I've stamped out la 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 as if she's doing her voice exercises with the bird. And I'm going to sit her on the branch with the bird, and I wanted some music. So I pulled out some music, and it's a lesson music, and it actually has exercises for the tongue on it. And I'm going to glue down some of this paper onto my cardstock. And I'm just going to rip some of this background paper, and I actually got this out of Collage Soup Hodgkin's Botanical. So I'm just going to glue that down. Yes, so I hope you've all had a lovely weekend. I had a wonderful weekend. My husband and I went for a drive and we visited some friends in Warwick. Now, Warwick is a very large country town west of Brisbane. It's about 2 hours drive west of Brisbane. They've got sort of like a hobby farm, and we went to visit them. We haven't seen them since maybe just before Christmas. So that was lovely for the weekend. It's always lovely going for a drive in the countryside. And it was lovely and sunny. Now let's just have a little look at my die. Where's my die? Okay, so this is the size of my die. What's on this? Suckling, suction. I had the S's out for succulent. Succession. So we won't worry too much about what it says. We'll just stick that down. I love when you're driving through the countryside, you get to look across the landscape with the mountains in the distance. In the foreground, all the valleys with all the farms, lush green growth of whatever they're growing. The contrast, and mountains in Australia, I'm not sure what they look like much in other countries. Mountains look blue. A lot of our foliage in Australia on our trees is a blue-green. So then with the reflection of the sky, it makes our mountains look blue, so shades of blue. Let's stick our music on. Now with this music paper, I just coffee dyed it. My husband, he grinds his coffee beans. Every morning he grinds them fresh. He doesn't save them for me until I say, okay, I need some more coffee. And then he'll save a couple of grinds and put them in a little dish for me. And then I make coffee out of it and dye some paper. So I have a little bottle of coffee brewing in. I'm going to die cut that out with my die. Now my die, for those that are interested, Karen Burniston, and it's called 1235 Topper Tags. And it's got 4 tags, and you can see the sizes there if you're interested. And it's a very good die actually, because the sizes are great. I use it when I have different sized journals. There's always something that fits. And I got it from Craft Online here in Australia. Okay, I'm going to cut that out, and that will give us our parameters of where I need to stick things. I'm going to put that under my mat, and I'm going to do the back so that the back's ready as well. Okay, I have my front and back all cut out, and you can see that I pulled out of the dictionary sing, so that there's a slight, background prompting. And I'm just going to put some gesso on it just to pull it back a little bit. Okay, they're dry. What I'm going to do is, while I create the front, I'm going to put this one under my mat so that it just goes a bit flat. Okay, so now we have our la la la, our bird, and our lady that are going to sit and have singing lessons together. They're actually very cute together, aren't they? And I have stamped out and watercoloured a circle with flowers, and I'll pull out the stamp for that. It's the All and Create Daily Gift, and it's number 897. And you can see that I've stamped it and I've watercoloured it in actually. I've watercoloured it with my Winsor & Newton watercolours, but then I've also used some gold, and I've used this one here, Anzi Tambi Starry Colours, and it's a nice gold watercolour palette because it's quite opaque. Some golds are quite transparent, but this one's nice and opaque and gives good coverage. And I'm going to put that behind them. You can see I'm trying to stick to the yellow colour palette, and I got the yellow colour palette from our bird here. He's black and white, and on his back and his wings he's got bright yellow, and so that's where we got the yellow colour palette from. I have stuck down the la la la, and I've also stuck the background on, and now it's time to do our bird and our lady. I'm going to put a little bit of Pitt pen on her. I'm going to use my Faber-Castell Pitt pens, the jewel markers, just to put a little bit of colour on her dress. I may actually use a little bit of gold as well. I'm doing it a little bit like an ombre because I want more colour down the bottom and less at the top. So I think I'll put a little bit of the gold colour down the bottom. A little bit of gold pen work on her. So you can see just the slightest amount of colour on her. with a little bit of gold highlight so that her dress is within the colour palette that we're doing. Okay, let's stick this lady on. I've pulled out a sentiment from Tim Holtz's Small Talk ideology, and it says, "No journey is too great if you find what you seek." For our performer here, she's had to climb up a tree and have a singing lesson with the bird to improve her singing. So I'm going to stick that down the bottom, and I'll put that on first because I need to figure out where everything's going to fit. Okay, we'll stick our singers on. I'm just going to use my Derwent watercolour pencils, and I'm going to go around the edges of some of the areas and put in some shadows. So what I'm going to do is, you can see here on this lady that this arm here is a little bit more in shadow, and there's shadow hitting here, there's shadow hitting this side of the face. So the light to me looks like it's coming from this side. So what I'm going to do is, and you can see here her dress is in shadow and her leg in shadow here. So I'm going to assume that the light source is over here, and I'm going to put shadows along the bottoms of things and slightly on the left hand side. I'll do this side of her foot, this side of her leg, a little bit in there underneath of the branch, and I'm going to do around here and a little bit around this side as well. Let's try that, and I'll just hit that with my watercolor brush and blend it out. Okay, and you can see that that has added some shadows around the bottom of them and around this left-hand side, and it's actually made them come forward. Let's let that dry, and I'm going to do the back. I've got the back finished. I'm going to glue the front and the back together now, and I'm going to put a decent amount of glue on it and press it under my mat just for 5 minutes or so, just until the glue sets. I'm going to be using art glitter glue and glue stick. Okay, I've just put some white splatters on that, and unfortunately I got a few really big blobs, but that's the nature of the splatters, isn't it? Sometimes you get little ones, sometimes you get big ones. All right, I'm just going to put some line work, some scratchy lines around in different spots. I'll go around the sentiment. There's a few marks on the music here. I'm just going to accentuate those. I've just put an eyelet in it and put some scratchy lines around, and I've put a bright yellow ribbon in it. So let's clear the decks and I'll show you all 3 tags. Okay, let's have a look at the tags. I've got the other 2 tags that I made off the camera to show you, but this is the one we made today. So we have our lovely lady. She has climbed up into the branches to have a singing lesson from our honey eater. And no journey is too great if you find what you seek. So she went looking for a singing bird to give her a singing lesson. I actually have no idea whether the honey eater has a beautiful singing sound, but this is what this story is. So She's up there, la 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 la, having a lesson, and everything is golden. So I think her name might be Summer. She's very bright and cheery. You can see I put lots of scratchy lines around and a little bit of shadowing. On the back, we just have a la 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 and some space for journaling. So that's that one. And this one here, this one is a bit of a funny one. We have a young man. He is up looking for a new bird. His brother said to him, "You need to go and find a date. You need to get a girlfriend. Go and find yourself a bird." So he went looking for a bird and he found the cockatoo. And it says, "I'd like to announce I have no idea what I'm doing." So it's a little bit comical. Uh, and in this one, I did some heat embossing. I'm not sure whether you can see that. I did some heat embossing with white heat embossing, and I stamped a stamp with the letters that were backwards because he's confused about what he's looking for. So I've got backward facing letters. And the stamp that I used in the background was All and Create Reverse ABCs, and the number is 569. And then I did some color blending, and you can see that the color palette is taken from the cockatoo's tail, where it's got a rusty, reddy, orangey color. So I've used all tints in that hue, and he turned out quite cute. His arrival time was at 9 p.m. Got himself a new bird, and the bird doesn't look that impressed. She's got her head turned away. So there you go. There's our young man on a date with a cockatoo. Totally confused about what he's doing. And I did some white splatters. I put some washi tape around, and I did, this is coloured in with a colour pencil. Then on the back, I just have some pattern paper, some dictionary page that's got cockatoo on it, and a bit of gesso and some washi tape. And here's our last tag. And this one says, "There is nothing like a dream to create the future." And this young lady has a dream of working with wildlife when she grows up. And she's wanting to pat the egret. So here we got our colour palette from the egret. So you can see we've got lots of nice ochre and browns and honey browns. She is excited about what's ahead. And then on the back, you can see that I have just one of those flowers. Now that flower came from All and Create Happiness and Nature. And I stamped all the flowers, and then I watercolored them, and I did some metallic watercolor as well. So you can kind of see if I tilt it that there's some metallic on it and metallic on this one as well. So let's put this into the journal somewhere. We did this page the other day. This was my second page, and I did 3 and 4, which is botanical and something vintage. Now we need to put today's prompt on. So I've got tag and one color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this on here, and we'll glue it on our tag so that our prompt is on this tag. Okay, so we've got prompt 5 is tag with one color. So let's add her to my journal, and you can see that I have prepped the opposite page to our second video, prompts 3 and 4, botanical and something vintage, and I have carried over some dictionary paper, and this one says succulent on it because we've got a succulent here, and I've carried over some gesso and some cheesecloth from down here so that they work well together. I also put cheesecloth and brown paper, like what's on here and up here, on this tag so that it would look good tucked in here. So let's add her in. She looks cute in there. And we'll bring in our other 2 tags that we made for this prompt. There we go. If you liked today's video and you like the tags, give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. And think about subscribing and leaving a comment. Okay, I will see you all on Wednesday for the next 2 prompts, which are stamp it and words. Have a great few days creating, everybody. Thanks again, and bye for now.